Revealed, the incredible secret that transformed a millionaire's daughter's life forever. In the charming town of Maplewood, where manicured lawns met designer boutiques, Lily Thompson's life seemed like a fairy tale. With her radiant smile and an endless stream of extravagant parties, she looked every bit the part of a millionaire's daughter. Yet, behind the curtains of designer clothes and sparkling chandeliers, an emptiness gnawed at her heart like a persistent shadow. It whispered in her ear, reminding her that wealth doesn't make a person truly happy. Each time Lily donned a gown for a gala, she felt like a character in a story scripted by someone else. Despite her father, Robert Thompson, being a pillar of success and inspiration, she craved something deeper than the accolades her family name brought. She yearned for genuine connection, a sense that life was worth more than just currency. So, Lily stepped into the world beyond her privilege by volunteering at the Maplewood Community Center. Amid the laughter of children and the warmth of grateful parents, she discovered a different kind of resilience. It was infectious. The stories shared by single mothers trying to make ends meet, fathers working multiple jobs, and kids dreaming big despite their circumstances painted a vivid picture of strength that she could hardly fathom in her cushy life. As she listened, her heart softened, and her mind expanded. The American dream, she learned, wasn't just about wealth, it was about fighting for a better tomorrow, but the more she connected with their struggles, the more the stark contrast with her own life became apparent. Robert viewed the hardships of others as personal failures, a belief that caused friction between him and his daughter. Lily found herself torn. How could she explain to her father that real success was just making money but inspiring change within a community that needed it? Then came the news: the community center faced severe budget cuts, threatening everything they built. Panic seized Lily's heart. She knew she had to act. Organizing a fundraiser became her mission, fueled by unwavering determination and the bonds she cherished. This was her moment, a chance to make a difference. But as the day approached, biases surfaced. The wealth in the room juxtaposed against the struggles outside made the event contentious. Lily's dreams unraveled, leaving her feeling defeated, but just when despair threatened to swallow her whole, a visit from Mr. Jenkins, a local war veteran, reignited her fire. His tear-welled eyes as he recounted how the center had helped his family showed Lily the real impact of her work. Every child, every family mattered. And in that moment, she realized her path forward. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As Lily poured her heart into saving the center, the tension at home boiled over. When she confronted Robert about his views on success, emotions surged. He was rigid, set in his beliefs, but Lily's passion cracked the shell of his convictions. They stood, two worlds colliding, hopeful for reconciliation. Yet, just as the air thickened with possibility, a crisis erupted that threatened to unravel everything again, leaving Lily at a crossroads. Would she persist in her fight for community connection, even if it meant risking her relationship with her father? The answer hovered, heavy yet hopeful, waiting to unfold in the next chapter of her journey. The day of the fundraiser arrived, and Lily's heart raced with a mix of excitement and anxiety. She arrived early at the municipal hall, nerves tumbling in her stomach like a swarm of bees. Twinkling lights danced overhead, casting a soft glow around the room. The sound of chatter filled the air as guests arrived, their designer outfits shimmering against the backdrop of the modest decorations. Lily had worked hard to secure the venue, but the glitz wouldn't hide the stark disparities that lay just outside its doors. As she greeted her guests, the smiling faces felt hollow against the weight of her mission. She could see them whispering among themselves in groups, discussing luxury and status, still blissfully unaware of the struggles faced by the families she had come to know. Lily took a deep breath, stepping up to the podium. Her hands trembled, gripping the edges. This was her moment to shine a light on the human side of the struggle, to share the stories that mattered. She caught a glimpse of Mr. Jenkins in the crowd, his presence grounding her. With a reassuring nod from him, she cleared her throat and began speaking. "Thank you all for coming tonight. It's great to see so many familiar faces in support of our community," she said, her voice steady but her heart thumping loudly. "Every dollar you donate tonight will help families who are barely making ends meet, families like Mr. Jenkins who rely on the Maplewood Community Center for support. This isn't just a building, it's a lifeline." As she spoke, she could feel her passion radiate through her words, reaching the hearts of some, but there were still skeptical faces turned toward her. She noticed her father in the back, arms crossed, a frown carved deep into his brow. Each word she spoke seemed to draw an invisible line between them, an unspoken tension that crackled in the air. Following her speech, the auction began. Bids flew in, numbers rose, and the atmosphere inched closer to an electric buzz. Yet all Lily could think about were the faces of those she volunteered with, the kids laughing, the mothers struggling to provide, the fathers working late nights. But then, disaster struck. An unexpected announcement from the mayor interrupted the evening. Due to unforeseen circumstances, the city will reduce funding for community initiatives, he said, prompting a ripple of gasps through the crowd. "We must address our fiscal responsibilities first." Lily's heart sank. She watched as smiles faded, conversations died down, and the very hope she had sparked was flickering. This wasn't just about the center anymore. Tear-filled eyes found her gaze, and for a moment, she felt utterly helpless. The room fell into silence, but soon a murmur stirred. The crowd turned uneasy, their focus shifting back to the wealth in their wallets rather than the cause. A clink echoed as someone set their glass down a bit too harshly. The tension was palpable. "Lily," her father's voice broke through the murmur, "this isn't how this should go. We can't let your good intentions lead to chaos." Those words hit harder than any confrontation they'd already had. The truth stung. Did he still not understand? In that moment, everything she stood for felt at risk of collapsing. Lily locked eyes with her father, desperation flooding her being. Could she bridge the gap between their worlds, show him that people mattered more than a dollar sign? Just as she was about to respond, her breath hitched, and silence blanketed the room once more. Would her aching need for connection be enough to change the course of the evening? Would she have to fight not just for the community center, but for a deeper understanding with her father? As she stood at that crossroads, a new question formed: would she be brave enough to risk everything for those who truly needed her? Lily's heart raced like a train on a collision course. The silence surrounding her felt unbearable. Every breath she took seemed to echo louder than the last. She could see her father's face, a mask of disapproval that made her want to retreat. But in that moment, retreat wasn't an option. The gaze of the crowd turned from anxious to skeptical. She could feel their disappointment weighing on her shoulders like a heavy coat. "We worked so hard for this," she whispered to herself, the words a prayer of sorts. Deep down, she knew she didn't just need their donations tonight, she needed their hearts. "Tonight is about more than just numbers," she suddenly exclaimed. The words spilled out, surprising even her. "It's about recognizing our community as a family. Each bid, each dollar raised goes to someone's child, someone's parent." A few heads nodded, and she seized the moment. "I've met the families who will benefit from your generosity. They're our neighbors. They love their kids just as much as you love yours. They're fighting every day for their place in this world." But still, she could sense her father's disapproval radiating from the back of the room like a cold draft. He had always believed in a world where success was defined by wealth, not love. She took a deep breath, brushing the edges of vulnerability and determination. "I will not allow this night to be the end for Maplewood Community Center." With those words escaping her lips, something shifted in the air. She could feel the tension break a little. Mr. Jenkins stepped forward, a shaky hand raised. "You're absolutely right, Lily," he called out. "Just last week, I had to choose between paying my utility bill or buying groceries. This center is a lifeline for us, and your father is wrong. Gasps floated through the crowd. Other voices chimed in, confirming Mr. Jenkins' experience. My daughter gets meals there. It's where my son learned to swim. The murmurs filled the room, and where there was silence, now there was hope, but then, her father spoke again. And what about innovation? What about progress? His words sparked a ripple of unease. This is how we uphold our community, not through the charity of the wealthy, but by fostering a thriving economy. Lily felt heat creep to her cheeks. Dad, she said slowly, that's not the answer this time. Wealth isn't just about money, it's about the strength of our community. It's about lifting those around us. The room held its breath. It felt like they were all teetering on a knife's edge. Her gaze flickered around the crowd. She could see a blend of confusion and dawning understanding flash among them. And in that moment, a thought hit her: she wasn't just fighting for the center, she was fighting for their connection, for empathy, for a chance at something more meaningful. Suddenly, in a rush of inspiration, she decided to share a story, a true story. There's a mother who comes to me every week. She works 2 jobs, barely scrapes by. But every day, she makes sure her kids have what they need. She represents everyone struggling like her, trying to chase dreams in the face of overwhelming odds. As she spoke, Lily saw tears glisten in the corner of some eyes. In that shared vulnerability, something began to shift in the crowd. The walls of skepticism started to crumble, but just as the atmosphere seemed to change, a loud voice from the back surprised everyone. Enough with the dramatics. Why should we care? Someone shouted, and the crowd recoiled. Lily's heart dropped. Would her moment be snatched away by that one voice? That question lingered in the air, demanding an answer. Would she be able to transform the disdain into compassion? Would this night conclude with understanding, or would the rift between her father and her destroy everything she fought for? The stakes were climbing, and she stood at the brink of a moment that could change everything. Lily's breath caught in her throat. The tension was palpable. The crowd shifted uncomfortably, glancing between her and the heckler, a man in a crisp black suit with a skeptical brow furrowed like he was evaluating her for a boardroom proposal. Why should we care? He demanded again, his voice ringing like an alarm. What's in it for us? The room felt like a pressure cooker, and the questions echoed in her mind. She had spent so long focusing on everyone else's stories. Perhaps it was time to share her own. Taking a deep breath, she summoned every ounce of courage and spoke in a voice steadier than she felt. Because I used to be you. The words dropped like stones into the tense atmosphere. I grew up viewing charity through the lens of skepticism. My father taught me that wealth and success defined my worth. But standing here tonight, I see how wrong I was. Gasps rippled through the crowd, but Lily pressed on, battling against the anxiety swirling inside her. I was ashamed to admit that I didn't know the struggles my neighbors faced because we were always so focused on the dollar signs. She could see her father's eyes narrow, but Lily didn't back down. It wasn't until I volunteered at the center that I truly understood what community means. I met people who taught me about resilience. They opened my eyes to a different kind of wealth, the wealth of connection, love, and support. She glanced at Mr. Jenkins, who nodded empathically. The crowd grew quieter, their defenses crumbling. Everyone, she continued, is fighting an unseen battle. That is the beauty of our community. We have the power to lift one another up. The heckler crossed his arms, still unconvinced, but there were soft murmurs among the crowd now. Just think for a second, Lily urged, if we choose to empower each other, we all rise together. Isn't that worth fighting for? The man paused, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. Lily recognized that glimmer, it was a crack in the icy facade. Others around the room leaned in, listening more intently. She could feel the energy shift once again, then, a voice emerged from the back. Mrs. Callahan, a beloved neighborhood grandmother who often baked cookies for the kids at the center. "You're right, Lily. I see the difference every day. Children need support, love, and mentors. It's so much more than just financial aid." "Exactly." Lily's heart soared. "It's about our future. We have to be the change we want to see in our community. Stand with me tonight, not just to save the center but to plant the seeds of compassion everywhere." At that moment, Lily's father stepped into the light, his expression conflicted. "What you say is admirable, Lily, but this isn't a sustainable model," he said quietly, his voice almost defeated. "Dad," she said softly, taking a step toward him. "It starts with us. It's not about sustaining a business model, it's about building lives. Opening hearts." Lily felt renewed vigor surge through her. She scanned the crowd, sensing the hesitation starting to melt into resolve. Just when she thought hope was within reach, the hecklers shouted back, "And if we give, who's to say it will make a difference? How do we know the money won't just vanish?" With that, the atmosphere thickened with doubt again. Would she break through their lingering skepticism? Could their concern turn into compassion? In that moment, she knew she had one last chance to rally the troops. "Because change is hard and worth fighting for," she said, voice trembling but strong. "Together, we can make a true impact." Her heart raced. Would they see her sincerity? Would her father align with her cause instead of standing against it? Just as the crowd seemed poised to connect, a phone rang loudly, shattering the moment. The unexpected sound cut through the air, leaving everyone holding their breath. With all eyes drawn to the noise, uncertainty returned, and Lily felt the sinking dread creeping back in. Was her moment fading? Would the crowd fracture once more? Every head in the room turned toward the source of the ringing phone, the tension snapping like a taut string. Lily's heart fluttered. All her hard work hung in the balance. It was as if the universe conspired to disrupt her moment, to drag her back into a chasm of doubt and confusion. But then, the ringtone stopped abruptly, and an uncertain figure rose from the back of the crowd. It was Clara, a young woman with messy hair and paint-smeared clothes. She had come a few times to the community center, always with an air of shyness. Now, she stood with her phone in hand, cheeks flushed with embarrassment. "I'm so sorry." "That was me," she said, her voice almost swallowed by the hush. "I should have turned it off." "Clara!" Lily exclaimed, an unexpected relief washing over her. "You don't have to apologize. We're all just trying to find a way to connect here." Clara's eyes widened, but she pushed on. "I recently painted a mural at the community center, and I thought it was just for fun. But then, the kids started showing up, helping me. I didn't see it at the time, but we were creating something powerful together." Lily nodded encouragingly. "That's what I'm talking about. Community is about collaboration, not just donations." Clara hesitated, glancing towards the heckler, then back at the crowd. "When we painted that mural, we created hope and joy. I realized it wasn't just paint on a wall, it was our story. Our connection. I learned that art can transform lives, just like love can. We can use our skills and passions to uplift each other." The crowd stirred, the energy pulsing with freshly ignited interest. Lily's heart soared, an unexpected ally emerging just when she needed it. "Exactly," she echoed. "This is proof that change doesn't need to be grand or financial. It can start with one simple act of kindness." The heckler, still defensive, looked skeptical but fought to maintain his stance. "So, how many murals does it take to save a center? Paint doesn't pay the bills. But it creates community." Clara shot back, her voice gaining strength. "Think about it. Every time someone walks by that mural, they see a beautiful reflection of themselves. They see hope. They stop, they talk, and they think. How is that not worth supporting?" A ripple of enthusiasm spread through the audience. People leaned closer, shuffling forward with murmurs of agreement. Lily's father, too, stepped back, processing the energy transforming around him. Then, with a shaky breath, Lily seized the moment. We need ideas like Clara's. We need passion, creativity. Let us not just give money, let us give our time, our talents. Whether it's painting, tutoring, or simply showing up, every effort counts. Suddenly, the heckler sat a little less rigidly, the resolve in his posture wavering. Lily saw a flicker of doubt cross his face, and her pulse quickened. What if tonight, right here, we made a pledge? Not just to save the center, but to create a movement. What do you suggest? He challenged, but his tone was softer now. Lily paused, hope blooming alongside the adrenaline. Let us raise our hands if you're in. If you're willing to show up, to share, to commit your time and talent, let us see it. With that, she raised her hand, heart pounding. One by one, hands began to rise around her. Clara's hand shot up, Mrs. Callahan's followed, and then someone in the front row. Momentum built, the warmth of shared purpose filling the space. See all those hands? Lily gestured to the sea of unity. This is where change starts. From our hearts, from our hands. Together, we can change lives. Lily glanced at her father, seeking connection, seeking understanding. But just then, the heckler, a glimmer of resolve in his eyes, glanced down at his own hands, then at the crowd, and made a decision that sent a rush through her. But before anyone could speak, he opened his mouth to say something. Lily held her breath, fearing whether the words that would come next would uplift them or throw them back into chaos. Would this night define the beginning of something beautiful or the end of their hope? The pause hung in the air, thick with anticipation. The heckler swallowed hard, his brow furrowing in thought. I guess he started, his voice shaky, I guess I never really thought about it that way. There was a shift, people leaned in closer, murmurs traveling like ripples through water. Lily felt her heart race, hope flooding her veins. And maybe, he continued, maybe I've been a bit too quick to dismiss what you all care about. For a moment, his gaze met Clara's, and she smiled back at him, a mixture of empathy and encouragement. Look, he said, running a hand through his hair, I know this place is important to a lot of folks. I just thought. His voice faded, but the tension in the room shifted again as he leaned slightly forward. I just thought that money is the real way to make change. No, Clara said softly but firmly, her voice a lifeline in the murmur of disbelief. Real change doesn't start with money, it starts with us. Every one of us, united. Yes. Lily chimed in. Just think about the children who play here, the memories formed and the skills learned. If we all put our hearts into it, if we shared our talents, how much more vibrant could this community center become? The crowd erupted with applause, energy surging. It was infectious. Even the heckler's lips curved into a hesitant smile that hinted at something he had locked away for far too long. He was beginning to see its sparkles of connection and commitment illuminating his expression. Then, he took a breath, as if lifting a weight from his chest. All right, I'm in. He raised his hand, and several gasps echoed as others turned to him in surprise. Lily's pulse raced. This felt transformative. Thank you. She exclaimed, her voice breaking just slightly with emotion. We can make this center a place where everyone feels welcome, where we all feel that sense of belonging. In that moment, a wave of energy flowed through the room, igniting new ideas and spontaneous suggestions. Someone in the back shouted, "What about a community garden?" And another added, "We could host art classes." Every idea sparked more, filling the air with hope like balloons ready to take flight. Clara stepped forward, vibrant and excited. Let us do art workshops. Kids can learn to express themselves and contribute to the mural. Yes. Someone shouted, and soon the room was a cacophony of voices, ideas swirling around like colorful paint. Lily felt tears prickling at the corners of her eyes, joining hands with both Clara and the former heckler. This was more than a conversation, it was a movement born from connection. What if we set a date for this? Let us gather here next Saturday to kick off our first community event. The crowd roared with approval, hands clapping, energy radiating as they united over a shared dream. But amid the excitement, a sudden thought pierced through Lily's elation. Her father hadn't spoken yet. She turned to find him standing at the back, arms crossed, face contemplative. Could he embrace this shift? Could he see destiny unfolding before him? As her eyes met his, uncertainty flared in the pit of her stomach. "Dad?" She called out, her voice steady yet filled with trepidation. "What do you think? Are you with us?" The room silenced, hearts collectively holding their breath, waiting for the response that could tilt everything in a new direction. Would he step into this bright, vibrant moment with them, or would he remain locked in the shadows of doubt? The answer hung heavy in the air, a single thread bridging potential and hesitation. Lily's heart pounded in her chest as she searched her father's face. His expression seemed carved from stone, no hint of warmth or agreement. The vibrant atmosphere dimmed, tension settling like a thick fog. "Dad," she pressed, taking a cautious step forward. "We're really trying to move forward here, to build something special. Can't you see how much this means to all of us?" He remained quiet, his jaw tightening. Around him, people exchanged worried glances, the uncertainty trickling through the crowd like a cold breeze. Lily felt a wave of heat flush her cheeks. The hope that had soared just moments ago now felt heavy with doubt. "Mr. Jensen, your daughter speaks from the heart," Clara chimed in, her voice unsteady but filled with sincerity. "We're all just asking for support, to be seen. Change is often hard, but it can begin here, with a simple yes." The heckler-turned-supporter nodded encouragingly. "Yeah. Look at this energy. We can make something great happen together. All we need is someone to believe." But still, there was silence from her father. He shifted his weight slightly, his arms still crossed, the defensive pose weighing heavily against all the hope in the room. A murmur arose, uncertainty weaving through the crowd as it began to feel like they were asking for more than what he was willing to give. "What are you afraid of?" Lily finally dared to ask. The question hung thickly in the air, almost too bold, too raw. It was a risk, but she had to know. Is it the money, the time, or just not believing that this could work? Her father finally looked up, eyes narrowing as if unsealing a door long bolted shut. "It's not that simple, Lily," he replied, his voice low and gravelly. "I have always prioritized stability. Stability doesn't have to mean isolation. You've raised me to care about community." Her voice quivered slightly but she held on tightly. "This is our chance to create stability through connection." He uncrossed his arms, but any hint of acceptance in his posture felt fleeting. Instead, he looked over at the crowd, people who were once strangers, now leaning in as though waiting for a fragile flower to finally bloom. "I don't know," he began hesitantly. But before he could finish, Clara interjected, "What if this is the very thing that brings stability? A self-sustaining community that makes us all stronger together. Don't you want to see what we can accomplish?" Lily's father remained quiet, the crowd around him seemed to swell, their determination filling the space, charging the air with a vital spark. Supportive nods passed among the faces, and warmth started to cast out the coolness he had held on to. Lily could see the flicker of something in his eyes, a conflict, a spark of curiosity, and maybe, just maybe, an inkling of belief. "Let us do this," she said suddenly, feeling buoyed by the energy around her. "Let us all come together next Saturday and start turning these ideas into reality." The crowd erupted once again, rallying behind her words. But even in the wave of excitement, she felt the weight of her father's indecision pressing down like a lead balloon. Would he step forward? In that electrifying moment, as the room buzzed, Lily took one deep breath and cast her gaze back toward her father. "Can we count on you?" The silence enveloped them like a shroud, eyes watching, a heart beating forward. Would he finally break free from his long-held reservations? Would this be the moment something within him shifted? As the energy swelled and excitement pulsed through the community center, she realized things would never be the same again, for better or worse. Finally, the moment of truth loomed just ahead, and pieces began to align. But would they fall into place, or would they shatter? Lily held her breath, her heart racing faster than it ever had. She could feel everyone's eyes glued to her father, waiting for a glimpse of hope, a sign of agreement. The tension felt like static in the air, the kind that made every hair on her arm stand on end. Would he finally let down the walls he had built so high? As if sensing the collective anticipation, he took a deep breath. "You all are looking for change," he started, his voice trembling ever so slightly. "But change, it can lead to chaos." Lily's stomach sank. Chaos. That word loomed larger than any other in his world. She stared at him, willing him to see the reality before him, the community standing strong, alive with potential. But isn't chaos just a different name for growth? She implored, stepping closer. Her father's gaze shifted to the crowd, then back to her. "Growth needs roots, Lily. You can't just rip out the old without knowing what will take its place." A ripple of murmurs moved through the room, but Clara stepped in again, her voice firm albeit shaky. "And what about the roots holding us back? We can create a solid foundation together, build something safe and secure without clinging to fear. Let us show you." "Let me?" her father echoed, his tone disbelieving. The words hung there, and Lily could feel the audience shifting on their feet. They were holding their breaths, each moment of silence stretching like a rubber band about to snap. "Yeah," she replied, lifting her chin defiantly. "Let us show you that there's nothing to fear when you have people standing by your side. Together, we're stronger. Isn't that worth believing in?" He hesitated, a battle raging behind his eyes. Lily could see memories battling his desire to open up. His childhood hid in shadows, abandonment, mistrust, and a world that seemed determined to teach him that vulnerability was a weakness. She reached out slowly, her fingers brushing his arm. "Dad, we're all scared of something, but that doesn't mean we can't move forward." At her touch, his defenses seemed to falter. He glanced at her hand, then lifted his gaze, searching her face for something in assurance. A commitment to what she was proposing. They were trapped in a moment, worlds colliding. A voice broke through the silence. "Mr. Jensen, if you can't take this leap of faith, then how can we?" It was one of the supporters, a woman with fierce determination in her eyes. "We believe in change. We believe it can lead us somewhere better." Lily's chest filled with hope. People were rallying together, reigniting the fire inside her father. He looked around again, absorbing the enthusiasm, the passion radiating from the crowd that genuinely wanted to make a difference. For the first time, something shifted in his stance. He uncrossed his arms completely, hinting at something more. He started, the words hanging heavy in the air. In that instant, Lily could sense they were standing on a precipice. "Please," she whispered, desperation clinging to her voice. "Just one step." As he opened his mouth again, a delayed but very much anticipated yes could finally crack through his armor. But before he could speak, the door swung open behind him, interrupting the moment. A figure stepped in, shrouded in uncertainty. "Mr. Jensen." It was a tall man in a well-tailored suit, with a familiar expression of urgency painted across his features. "We need to talk. It's urgent." Lily's breath hitched. This disruption felt ominous, as if the answer they all longed for was about to slip through their fingers before they could grasp it. "Now?" her father asked, his voice betraying a new tension as he turned to face the newcomer. "Yes. It's about your legacy." As the words hung in the air, Lily's thoughts raced. What did that mean? Would her father's past catch up with him at the worst possible moment? Would it derail everything she had worked so hard for? The stakes had never been higher, and now, the fate of their dreams teetered on the edge. The room fell into a palpable silence. Lily's heart thudded against her ribs. The mention of her father's legacy sent a shiver down her spine. She watched as his expression hardened, the vulnerability from just moments before evaporating like morning mist. "What do you mean my legacy?" he questioned, his voice sharp, cutting through the tension like a knife. The man in the suit stepped forward, his demeanor urgent but respectful. "I'm sorry to intrude, Mr. Jensen, but this can't wait. It's about the foundation you built. There are some matters that require your immediate attention." Lily felt her stomach twist. The foundation was meant to be a beacon of hope for the community, a project that represented all they had fought for. If her father didn't handle this delicately, would it collapse under the weight of secrets? "Can't it wait until after the meeting?" her father snapped, frustration seeping into his voice as he glanced back at the crowd, their eyes wide with confusion. "It affects everything," the man insisted, his eyes darting toward the audience. "Your reputation is at stake, and if we don't act now, the consequences could be devastating." "Devastating," Lily echoed, half to herself. The word reverberated in her chest like a distant drumbeat. She could feel the warmth of the crowd behind her wane, uncertainty creeping in. What kind of legacy was her father trying to protect? "Can you give us a moment?" her father said, more firmly this time. The man looked at him, and after a brief moment, nodded, stepping aside but not entirely out of earshot. Lily seized the break in the action. "No, Dad. Don't turn away now," she pleaded, desperation pouring from her words. "You were almost there. You were about to say yes." His expression softened momentarily, a flicker of the father she loved shining through. But it was quickly overshadowed by a wall of concern. "Lily, there are things you don't understand. Things that could hurt you. Maybe you don't understand either," she shot back, frustrated tears threatening to spill. "You put so much into building this wall around your heart, but it just keeps us from being a family. Do you want to lose all of this?" She waved her hands, encompassing the crowd, the passion, the hope they represented. "We can't move forward while you're stuck in the past." The crowd around them absorbed her words, a hum of encouragement rising in agreement. Clara stepped in, her hand on Lily's shoulder. "We're here for you, for all of us. Let us face this together." Her father's gaze flitted between his daughter and the crowd, caught in a storm of his own making. Yet, the hesitance painted over his features slowly began to lift. I don't want to hurt you," he murmured, almost to himself at a moment of vulnerability. A reminder that behind all the positions of power and authority, he was still a dad. "We're not fragile," Lily insisted, her voice steady with conviction. "Show these people that you can trust them. Show me. Take that step." He stared at her, a battlefield of emotions raging within him. Suddenly, the suit-wearing man interjected, breaking the spell. "Mr. Jensen, I'm truly sorry to push, but if we don't deal with this now, you could lose it all, your reputation, your projects, everything you've built." As the words sunk in, a nervous energy pulsed through the crowd. Lily's heart raced, knowing they were losing precious moments. Would her father succumb to the weight of his past yet again, or would he fight? She stepped closer to him, her voice barely above a whisper, but fierce. "What will you choose, Dad?" In that charged moment, eyes from all sides locked onto her father, memories tugging at him like unseen chains. The pressure mounted, and it felt as though they were all spiraling toward a pivotal climax. Would he choose the ghosts that haunted him, or would he finally embrace the chaos of growth? The answer was looming closer, but the clock was ticking. "Mr. Jensen, please." The urgency in the man's voice shattered the moment's stillness. The floor fell away beneath Lily as she grappled with the realization that the stakes were higher than they ever imagined. What secrets would the day unveil, and how would it alter their understanding of family, trust, and what it truly meant to build a legacy? As the tension hung heavily in the air, Lily felt hope battling against despair. The room felt like a volcano ready to erupt, and her heart thudded loudly as she looked at her father. His face, once hardened, showed flickers of uncertainty, and in that moment, she saw the man behind the business mogul, her dad, a man with fears, hopes, and deep-rooted values. "Dad," she said softly, almost pleadingly. "You've always taught me that community is everything: love, support, connection. All those people there," she gestured towards the hopeful faces in the crowd, "they are willing to stand with you. But you have to take that step. If you let fear win, you close the door on their hopes and ours." He hesitated, glancing briefly at the man in the suit, whose urgency seemed a little less intrusive now as the warmth of his daughter's words seeped through the tension. "But what if?" Robert's voice cracked, revealing his vulnerability. "What if things fall apart? What if I can't manage it all?" "That's the beauty of being part of a community," Clara chimed in. "You don't have to do it alone. We've got your back." Soft whispers of encouragement rippled through the crowd. "We believe in you, Mr. Jensen." A few voices rose in solidarity. "You can do this." Feeling a surge of warmth unfurl within her, Lily pressed on. "Let us build the foundation together. Not just for the center but for ourselves." She took a deep breath. "This is our chance to merge our worlds, Dad. Let us use your legacy to uplift others, not as a shield against fear." The tension began to ease as Robert looked back at the crowd, their gazes full of faith and hope. This moment wasn't just about him, he could feel that. It was about the tangible bond they all shared, the community eager to rise together. "I don't want to lose you, Lily." His voice was thick, strained with uncertainty and love. "You won, she replied firmly, stepping closer, reaching for his hand. "All you have to do is trust me in them." Seconds felt like lifetimes, the clock ticking silently as Robert's internal struggle painted itself across his face. At that moment, he caught a glimpse of what lay outside the walls of his carefully curated life, a chance to spark real change. Then, a single tear escaped his eye as he finally allowed some of his defenses to break. "I don't know how it'll go," but he paused, inhaling deeply, as if embracing the chaos of potential. "I'll give it a chance." Gasps filled the room, followed by a wave of cheers. Lily felt fire ignite in her chest, a warmth she thought would remain dormant forever. Her heart raced as her father's eyes shone with something she hadn't witnessed in a long time: hope. "I'm in," he said, his voice steadier. And just like that, it was like a dam broke. Cleansing laughter and applause erupted from the very same crowd who had doubted just moments before. Lily felt herself wrap her arms around her father, both of them swallowed by the joy in the room. She could sense the moment he let go of his fear. This was a rebirth, a profound transformation into a collective of strong hearts ready to lift one another up. "Let us do this together." She laughed through her tears as people filled the hall with excitement, rallying each other passionately, making plans, sharing ideas that pulsed with life. That night, as they started bouncing off ideas for art classes, community gardens, and mentorship programs, hope filled every crack. The Maplewood Community Center wasn't just saved, it transformed into a blossoming hub of ingenuity, community, and laughter. Days turned into weeks, and soon the walls of the center barely restrained the lives it touched. Lily saw mothers growing stronger, children flourishing, and even her father stepping out from behind the suit he wore. Together, they became the warm heart and hands fueling the community's soul. Years later, at the center, standing alongside her father, Lily watched as the kids painted their dreams on the mural Clara had created. It was a wall of stories, laughter, and connections blooming in vibrant colors. Robert nudged her gently, studying the artwork. "This was never just about securing our family's legacy, was it?" he mused, a radiant smile lighting up his face. "No, Dad," she replied, her heart full. "It was always about building lives." With hands brimming with creativity and warmth, they had taken the leap into uncertainty, grasping the beauty of what community truly means. And together, they would continue to rise. Now, if you've loved this story and want to see more transformative tales, you need to subscribe to the channel now. Hit that bell so you don't miss any exclusive stories coming your way. Leave a like right now to keep that algorithm buzzing and help more people see this journey. And don't forget to comment below how Lily and Robert's story impacted you. We want to hear your thoughts. Lastly, by sharing this video with at least 5 friends who could use a dose of inspiration, you're not just supporting the channel, you're spreading hope. Don't wait not even one more second to make that happen. Your support can change lives.